Welcome to the Floyd Memorial Library podcast, where we sit down with the people who give shape, texture, and voice to life on the North Fork of Long Island. Some are rooted here by generations, others arrived by chance or choice, but all carry with them a piece of the story. We talk about what's changing, what's worth holding on to, and the currents of history, both quiet and loud, that run through this place. I'm your host, Christopher Bianchi, and for episode 236, I'm joined by DJ Henry Eau, a familiar presence across the North Fork's music scene, someone whose work has quietly become part of the rhythm of the place. But before the late nights and packed dance floors, there's a deeper story rooted in family, small business, and growing up on the North Fork, in a community where people tend to know each other. In this conversation, Henry reflects on his early life, his time at Mattituck High School, and the path that led him from an interest in music into something more serious. He talks about building a name locally, finding his sound, and what it means to work in a scene that's constantly shifting, especially out here where the seasons change everything. So I hope you enjoy episode 236 with DJ Henry Eau. This episode was recorded March 4th, 2026. Thank you so much for coming on the Floyd Memorial Library podcast today. It's really great to have you on today.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
And just in the beginning, I'd like to just ask a little bit about your background. If you can share a bit about your family and what brought your family to the North Fork.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So, my family was originally from Korea, but when they moved to the U.S., my mom was living in New Jersey for a while, in the Bronx. She was a nurse at Bronx Lebanon Hospital for a number of years, along with my aunt, and then my dad came a little bit later, and they were in Atlanta for a few years, and they actually ran a laundromat down there for a while, and then they came back here, and then they just knew someone that had happened to move out here, who were also like the neighbors.
Yes.
And then they just kind of plopped down in Mattituck, and I don't know, I guess the rest is kind of history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know around or the year or?
I think it was like 1980 or so, somewhere around
Okay.
there. Yeah.
And then for you, just growing up out here, what was it like for you as a child?
It was interesting. I mean, being an Asian family out here, especially at that time, was fairly uncommon, I guess, out here. So basically was like the only Asian kid in my class type of deal. But at the same time, it's like small town, so people can be friendly too. And, it depends on the person that you run into, I guess.
Yeah.
But, it was mixed. It was some good experiences and some bad experiences. But, that's kind of life anywhere. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what did your family kind of overall think of the North Fork? Coming from, well, they were more in the city within Jersey and
Jersey,
Atlanta.
Bronx. Yeah. I think they were just happy to find a safe place to settle down and raise a family. I know I've talked to my dad about this stuff more recently, but I think they were very concerned about running a store in the city at that time because there were just a lot of crime and a lot of burglaries and break-ins and hold-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think they were happy to find this place out here and just not have to worry about that stuff. Yeah.
And you mentioned they were running a dry cleaning business, but they brought that out here and to Southampton?
So they ran the laundromat in Atlanta for a while, but then they started the dry cleaning over here. They actually originally opened their first store in Greenport in the 80s. Yeah, and then...
where was that located?
Right on Front Street, across from the park, where the park is now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's right next to the Chinese takeout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is still there from back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. yeah, and then they opened that store, and then they eventually opened one in Mattituck, where I grew up, and then they sold that Greenport store to a former employee,
Mm.
and then they slowly did the same thing. They opened one in Hampton Bays, sold that, and then they moved to Southampton. And
Okay.
yeah, so
And for you, how was it for you growing up in Mattituck? What activities would you do as a child or a teen?
to be honest with you, like I was, well, the music thing's kind of a constant. So
That
I
was
yeah
from the
my
beginning.
yeah. So I had my parents had me on playing classical piano since I was like 5 years old, whether I liked it or not. So that was kind of like the thing I had to do regardless, and every
Hmm.
day. Just it was like just a mandatory thing.
Yeah.
And I did learn a lot of stuff. I guess technique and which is useful, but at the same time, it's also can be if it's too strict, it can be kind of like debilitating in some ways if you're trying to do other things with
Hmm.
music. So I'm thankful for it, but I'm also like I had to unlearn some habits in my I guess
Mm.
in my thought processes as to how to approach music later on.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Were you continuing to have music part of your life in high school, or and then were you part of band or?
Yeah, so I did band in school, which I did enjoy actually, and then
Okay.
yeah, and then we also did jazz band in high school,
Hmm.
which was fun. So yeah, that was always kind of there. That was my main like school activity, I guess.
Mm.
And then otherwise, I was just like playing video games and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Uh, and just coming out of high school, did you know what you wanted to do as a career?
not really. So I kind of switched my major a bunch of times in college. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I was just kind of chipping away at basic requirements, and then um I actually took a break for a little while. I started actually in Montreal in Canada.
Hmm.
I was at McGill for 2 years, and then I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I took a break, and then I finished here at Stony Brook. I ended up doing economics and Asian American studies,
Hmm.
and then the whole, I guess all the DJ stuff happened. Kind of, it was always going on, but it kind of like took off kind of after all that. So
Mm.
it's kind of almost unplanned. It's kind of yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But so you were always interested in music, but were there any specific moments or people who inspired you to pursue DJing?
Um, yeah, so yeah, I've always been interested in music. It's kind of always kind of been in the background, regardless of what the circumstances were, I suppose. As far as DJing goes, I got into it when I was in high school.
Hmm.
Um, I got a set of turntables for Christmas one year that I was really into watching these videos back in the day. This DJ videos like
Hmm.
they called the DMC. It's like a DJ like battle competition.
Okay.
It was very big in the 80s, 90s, and like early to mid 2000s.
Hmm.
It still exists now, but it's kind of like fallen off a little bit. But back then it was kind of huge with all the like really technical scratch and turntablist DJs, I guess what they call it. Where they're just they have a stack of records on on the turntable itself, and they have it all organized. So they have one here on the left, one on the right. They play like 3 seconds of this song, and then 1 second of this song, and then they're like flipping stuff back and forth, and then scratching, and they're just taking them off as they go. They have the whole thing planned out. It's like
Hmm.
really, if you want to watch some amazing like super talented DJ stuff, I would check out anything from the DMC. Yeah, in the
Okay.
90s and 2000s. You can find it on YouTube. Um,
Were the machines kind of they were different back then,
it's the
or it's
same
the same?
turntables that people have been using then, and they're still using them
Okay.
now. It's actually
Okay.
actually kind of amazing in that way. It's a Technics 1200. It's just a
Hmm.
standard DJ turntable. Um, they're kind of indestructible,
Yeah.
which is why they've never really changed the design since then. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So and then
And you kept practicing and watching these videos, and when did you feel like you wanted to pursue it as a career and seriously?
um, so yeah, I was watching the videos for like it's kind of interesting because if you don't know what's going on in those videos, like you really just it's really hard to decipher.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can pick up a little bit from it, but I was actually able to find there's this one famous DJ. His name is Qbert. He's like the number one like scratch DJ in the world, even like from then and until now. He's kind of like the master, like the grandmaster of it.
Yeah.
So he made a DVD back in like I don't know 2000 or something like that.
Mhm.
I found they sold it at the DJ's record store in the city. It was Fat Beats, and it was in Greenwich Village in the city.
Oh.
I would actually go in there and like look for some stuff once in a while just to pick up some records, and because I learned on vinyl
Yeah.
originally, even though it was like 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah, DJ equipment is always like 10 years behind the rest of the industry
Yeah.
in some ways. So yeah, people were still spinning on vinyl because there's technical reasons for that, because you need to be able to change the speed of the song to match the tempos of different songs. So when you lay them up together, they sound continuous rather than one song's at this tempo, one song's at this tempo, and then it just sounds like horses galloping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a reason for all that, but basically, yeah, there was a DVD that this guy Qbert had out, and it was actually really instructive. It was very clear, and he showed you how to do all the different scratches, like step by step, and it would just loop over and over again. So that's kind of like where I learned all that from. Yeah. And then after learning that, I could watch the videos and kind of decipher a little bit what was going on a little better.
But then did it still take you a bit to get the hang of it?
Yeah, like scratching and like all that turntable like wizardry. That takes years to master. It's like learning an instrument, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And over time, you mentioned later after school, after Stony Brook, what steps did you take to start getting involved in the local music scene? And was there a turning point there where you started to reach out to?
Yeah, so I was, it's kind of funny because everyone I knew, like, no, there wasn't really much of a DJ scene when I was starting out on the North Fork.
Would you have to go to the city or?
Yeah, you'd have to go to the city to like, see or like obtain anything that was related to DJing. So when I was out here, I was, basically everyone else I knew was kind of like in the live music stuff or like going open mics or all that stuff. So we actually kind of experimented back then a little bit. Like just doing like trying to do like scratching and like trying to mixing with live music, and it was like I guess it was kind of premature at that time trying to figure it all out, but we did do it for fun. And then just little things like that. I was messing around, and then but as far as the steady gigs go, actually I was working at Sterling Sake at the time for a little while, and someone that was working there, still a good friend of mine, she actually, I don't know, she just like convinced someone, the manager of American Beach, to like hire me to do their Halloween party one year. And that's kind of, I was just like, all right, I guess this is it. So we're doing this. And then, before that I would do little things here and there, to friends and stuff, but I wasn't like, I was kind of on and off and not like super into it. Like, I mean, not into it, but not super like, making it like a public gigs,
a full
schedule. Yeah. So, but that was kind of like where it started off. And then I don't know, people just kind of asked me to do stuff over time. And then, one thing leads to another. And then all of a sudden I'm like, DJing like 4 nights, 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then nowadays, I don't know, like right now over the winter, just, I don't know, been people emailing me and texting me to like DJ their weddings and all this stuff. So
Nice.
Yeah.
And how would you describe your style of DJing? So actually, when was that first event at American Beach? Was that?
That was like almost 10 years ago now.
10 years
It's
ago.
a while. Yeah, Jesus, like 2016.
But just thinking of you starting then, and how has your DJing evolved?
Yeah, that's interesting. So in some ways it's similar, and with some, and that has also evolved in a lot of ways. I guess I do mostly like they call it open format style DJing. So you're kind of mixing anything from hip hop to R&B to pop to dance pop to EDM, and kind of just going with the flow and just making it all kind of work together. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a more of a mainstream approach to DJing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm also doing certain gigs. Like I was doing a lot of winery gigs for a
Mm-hmm.
long time, where it's kind of like more lounge, chill, like more of a just setting a vibe and
Yeah.
not really like playing requests and all that stuff.
Mm.
So there's like two different lanes I'm kind of operating in, and then there's the whole like wedding lane too. So like now people are asking me to do a lot more weddings, so like I'm doing that,
Mm-hmm.
and then also doing the like the regular mainstream party stuff, and then like the kind of like the the vibe setting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I also run karaoke now. I've been doing that at Lucharitos now I'm doing it
Nice.
on Fridays. So plug. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm doing like all different styles of things and just
You kind of describe yourself as genre fluid
yeah,
DJ,
I would say that. Yeah, yeah.
and like you can work in different directions. But just looking at over the 10 years, do you think the music taste has changed, or it just, I feel like it could be just a person to person or event by event.
Yeah, I mean kind of all the above, I guess. Yeah, trends change, but also events change and venues change and depending especially out here, depending what you're like hired to do, like you could be playing it could be 2026 and you could still be playing the 80s and 90s
Yeah.
music that you heard of, a million times. Or, you know, depending on the gig, like again, like those kind of like vibe setting gigs, like kind of just going through. I mean, you could be going through classics, but you could also be going through new stuff that's
Hmm.
just coming out now. So, it and of course, like pop music always kind of adapts in
Hmm.
its own right. So, you know, um, there was like a 2016 sound kind of that was around, kind of like staccato-y, like mid-tempo dance pop music, and
Mm.
then kind of like lush chords, I guess. And then now it's like, I guess more. There's a lot of like new house music coming out and a lot of
Hmm.
dance stuff that's been doing really well. So I mean, that all changes too. So and then
Hmm.
trends come back. So there's all that too. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And you mentioned the karaoke, but what's a memorable night or venue here on the North Fork that really stands out to you?
Yeah, so there's definitely like some. It's funny you asked that because I sometimes think about this too, and there's like definitely some nights where like I don't know what it is, like if it's me or if it's like the crowd that's there, or maybe all together, like or just the style of event it is. But there's definitely like some special nights where like it just I don't know, like I'm not thinking about what songs to play. Like the 3 or 4 hours just goes by like in like 2 seconds,
Hmm.
and it just flows. And like I listen to the mix afterwards, like wow, that was like really like it sounded really cool. Everything stringing everything together, and then and the people that are there are also having a good time. So yeah, there's definitely some nights like that. There was a recent one I did at the North Little Creek
Little
Oysters.
Creek
Yeah,
Oyster.
yeah. Back in December, they were doing like their opening for I guess whatever they call this year was Raised Shell. I think
Okay.
yeah. So they didn't have Celebration, but they had Raised Shell this year.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was like just one of those nights. I was like, I wasn't even playing anything mainstream. I was just playing like house 90s house music, like new remixes. Diving into like Afrobeat here in the 70s and kind of doing like a disco house set here and just kind of mashing it all together, but making it work, and then people really enjoying it too. So
Yeah.
like it's one of those like one of those like special nights that just you don't know how to replicate, but
Yeah, it just flowed,
yeah,
and there you did have kind of feel like the freedom to kind of curate it your own way in a way.
yeah, and, like that event, like that was just like no one told me to play anything. Like
Hmm.
there was I think Ian at Little Creek just said, we're just doing like a cocktail hour style, like
Yeah.
lounge vibe. So I was like, all right, I know exactly what to do here. So, and then everyone really enjoyed it. So it was like, it's perfect. And yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
And for your own music, you said like you also produce beats and electronic music.
Yeah.
How do you balance DJing live versus studio work?
Right. So that's another interesting question. Um, I guess it depends on the season. I guess it's the easiest way to put it.
Hmm.
Um, Summertime, out and about doing a lot of gigs and events. So it's a little bit harder during that time period to do that stuff. But in the fall, winter, whatever, early spring, it's like a little slower. So,
Yeah.
I'm not not running around all over the place, not as tired, so I can sit down at home and just kind of like work out some ideas that are floating around and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. But at the same time, it's also at this moment, like the music production and the at home stuff it's a little bit more like experimental, kind of more. It's not. I haven't really been like gearing that music towards the sets
Mm-hmm.
directly. I mean that may change in the future, but for now it's kind of just like a side project almost. But
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, it definitely depends on the season. That's the number one thing. Yeah.
And is it something you can, uh, or something you would share online, or
Yeah, I have everything out there. It's not like a secret, but
yeah?
um
What is that? I think it was popular during COVID. Was it Twitch?
Twitch
Twitch.
streaming. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of DJs around the world were on there, like live streaming.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I mean, it kind of, yeah, I guess it kind of died down once things reopened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still out there, but yeah, Twitch was primarily for gamers to stream
Yes.
their stuff, but all the DJs and musicians jumped onto it during the pandemic because there was already an audience there, and they were.
Were you on there during?
I did a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I did actually do some streams during COVID.
Okay.
I kind of went back. Once the regular gig started, I kind of just let it slide. But
Yeah.
but it is something I kind of. It was nice to do it because it kind of gives you an idea of like how to make a better video if you want to like just do like a promo or something like that. So yeah.
And what's one misconception people often have about being a DJ or working in the music industry?
I think with DJing, it's definitely most of the work, like 90% of the work, is actually like being a librarian.
Yeah.
Funny to, I mean, you work
We're in the library.
Yeah, with the library. But honestly, it's like a lot of like organization and like just filing things away and putting things in places that you'll be able to find them later. Just making breadcrumbs and stuff that you can like trace. That's like 90% of the work of DJing. At least like the way I've been doing it. Yeah. And the 10% is the execution is the other 10% when you're out there doing the job. But if you've laid down everything correctly ahead of time, then the execution becomes much, much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think just for people that aren't aware, they might just show up at a bar and they're like, oh, it's just they're
It's like pushing a button.
Yeah, and they don't. But I could see that being like some people thinking that.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, definitely that's definitely like a type of misconception about DJing for sure.
Yeah.
The other thing is like, yeah, physically, I guess technically you're kind of just pressing a button at some point, but in that like decision making process, like when I decide what song I'm gonna play next, I mean that's also like what song you're playing next. You just pick a song, but I mean if I'm playing like one song and then I'm thinking about like the next 2 to 3 or 4 next songs that can line up with that will make sense in a musical context.
Yeah, planning ahead and making sure it flows.
Yeah, making sure it flows, and also kind of pre-planning some like deviations, like maybe some forks that you might go down. And so I'm kind of like going through the library, like previewing all these different songs in my head, or I mean in my headphones. So I can make sure because I don't really pre-plan my sets. So when I play a song, I'm like actively going through my library and like checking, does this one sound like it would make sense with this one, and you're listening for the not just the beat but does the harmony match up, like is the flow gonna be consistent or is it gonna like fall off and die, and a lot of that's in like I guess a lot of that's in the percussion section of the song,
and like getting getting a vibe from the audience too.
Yeah, seeing what's working with that particular crowd of people at that
Yeah.
night, and if one thing doesn't work, then you got to change gears and switch
Hmm.
it up. So and when you switch it up, then you have to switch up your whole plan and go down the other fork.
Hmm.
So there's a lot to think about that you just don't really see. It's just all in in your head, I
Yeah.
guess.
Everyone's out there probably just like dancing
Yeah.
and then just because you've been in it for over a decade now,
Yeah.
what advice would you give someone wanting to just starting out
Yeah.
as a DJ today?
That's interesting. I guess stay true to what you feel is most natural to you.
Hmm.
And that could be anything. I mean, for me, I'm kind of like, just in general, I like to sample different things. Like, not like literally in the
Hmm.
musical sense. I mean, although sometimes that's also true, but just like, in life, sampling different foods, traveling, or like, learning about different things. I
Hmm.
like to just keep the options open and just try different things. So that's why I guess musically, I kind of like, even my Spotify tells me this, like it says you're like the wanderlust or whatever personality or
Yeah.
something. Uh, so you're like the genre sampler. So I'm always just like looking around and seeing what I like from each different
Hmm.
artist or style, and so that's why I do like the mainstream gigs that are like kind of all over the place, and then
Hmm.
also do like the vibey sets, and then also do the weddings, and just like I find something enjoyable in each of these different scenarios because I do really like music.
Hmm.
So I feel like if you're starting out, like if that's your vibe, then definitely do that. But if you like to like stay in your like, you know, 120 to 130 BPM house range, and you're in this one specific subgenre, then if you like that, then do that. Like
Hmm.
but you got to do what's most natural, I think,
Hmm.
to your personality. I
Hmm.
think that's like the number one thing.
Yes. And I'm just curious because you mentioned Spotify, but uh, for you personally, do you have a favorite decade or genre of music? Because you said you kind of dive into
Yeah.
a lot of different things, but if you had to pick, it's probably hard
Yeah,
to.
it is hard, but I don't know, I really feel like I like kind of like classic house music and like
Mm.
kind of like that jazzy vibe.
Hmm. Was that on this? Was that usually on the scene back in the 80s and
Yeah, I mean that's when it
90s?
started, and then it's
Okay.
kind of like continued on in its different forms. And
Hmm.
I like sets where I can play that. It's
Yeah.
just good vibes, like disco house type of vibe.
Hmm.
It flows. There's a groove. I think groove is really important
Hmm.
in when I DJ because especially like funky bass lines and stuff.
Hmm.
I feel like that's kind of like a make or break thing, I guess for me anyway. I went through a phase where I was really listening to like a lot of like old school funk and disco. I think
Hmm.
that was when they had those couple concerts at the time Martha Clara, now RGNY.
Okay.
They brought in Nile Rodgers from Chic,
Mm.
the band from the '70s, and he like they. It's still kind of crazy that they did this because a lot of people didn't even know what was going on. But like he had brought in Avicii, big EDM DJ at the
Huh.
time, and then the year after they brought like Duran and Pharrell and like
Wow.
Beck. They had that a big show in Jamesport that nobody knew about. But especially during that time, I was really digging through that whole catalog, and it was
Okay.
like a lot of like funk and disco and like R&B and stuff. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's like kind of like a big thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I guess looking ahead, how do you stay inspired and motivated and to keep pushing forward in a competitive music scene?
Yeah. I guess just keep doing what you're doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, uh, yeah, I know there's sometimes you like sit down and like you look at your phone and like you see, oh, this person's doing this person's doing this, but I guess if you stay busy enough where you don't even have time to do that, like that's like the main goal, I guess. So
Hmm.
just I think just being consistent and keeping the quality level up, and being keeping the passion alive is like the main most important thing. I think if you could do that, then you could probably keep going forever. Yeah.
And would you hope to keep DJing throughout the two forks, or even expand?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm mainly doing North Fork, Shelter Island, a little, some Hampton, South Fork stuff once in a while. But yeah, I mean, if the opportunity arises, I would definitely, do more in other places as well. I'm not, I don't see any reason to like limit area or geography, if the situation is right. But I do like, being out here too. So
Yeah,
it's nice. So yeah.
no, definitely.
Yeah.
And then just to touch back on the North Fork, just from growing up here out in Mattituck, and how has the North Fork changed over that time, and looking at it today?
Yeah, that's another interesting question.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot. I can tell you that much. When I was growing up, nobody would come out here. I remember it's kind of funny because I actually grew up going to a Korean church in Dix Hills, about an hour away, that we would go to like every Sunday. But nobody from there would want to come out here ever because like, oh, it's too far. Like, what do you like? They don't even know that the LIE like ended. They're like, I tell people, oh, it's past the end of the LIE after Riverhead. They're like, what? Like,
Really?
they're like, the expressway ends. I was like, yeah, it actually does.
Yeah.
So there's like that whole kind of dynamic, and then yeah, people just wouldn't make their way out here, and it was simpler, but also kind of I don't know. There's a lot of, it's kind of a complicated question, I guess, but
Yeah, there could be like some.
a lot of layers, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, there's always could be some positives and negatives of either looking at it today.
So I mean, the positives, I guess, it was simpler time and things were cheaper. Like, it was easier. I guess just day to day living was kind of easier, but at the same time, it's also like the worldview could be a little narrower, and there's not as many things to do or places to go, or if you want to try some kind of different dish, it's like easier to do now than you could back then. Or,
Yeah, there probably was a limited selection.
yeah, like the culinary scene was a lot more, it was a lot smaller, and now you have all the wineries and the breweries and all that stuff, and just generally more people around, so there's more interactions. So in that sense, it's
more lively.
Yeah, more lively, and that kind of more, just more fun, I guess, in that respect. So.
And just looking ahead, what are your hopes for the future of the North Fork down the line? What would you hope to see?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, I guess,
that can also be complicated.
Yeah, complicated. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, things are getting expensive, and, it's getting harder and harder for people to, get by, and there's just like trying to find the right balance between, having things to do, and but also being able to just, survive. And then there's like quality of life things, like, people don't want too much, like, we're in Southampton running the cleaners, and just the traffic in the summertime is just insane. Like, you can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think we're trying to avoid that here too, as best we can, because that just ruins your day.
Yeah, you're stuck, and then it does ruin your day.
Yeah. So I mean, I think whatever we do here, we need to do things in like a balanced way. I think that's the most important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, and I think just lastly, could you share with us your platform and how people can get in contact with you for future events, if you wanted to say?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's great. So I guess the easiest way to find me is on Instagram. That's where I do most of my posting. It's DJ, spell it out, DJ Henry. It's spelled EAU. It's not my real name. I just kind of like did a play on words with the French thing, and my real last name is O. It's spelled OH.
Okay.
But if you say it in like a French way, it's like water.
Uh,
I mean that was my whole idea with it. So
okay.
it's just a play on words. So it's DJ HenryeAu, and you can find me there. And that you can just look up online. I mean, it'll show up on my website, same name, and yeah. So
Okay. No, but I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast today and share your story and your continued involvement out here on the North Fork and discussing your DJing out here. So thank you so much for coming on.
yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, I hope you enjoyed episode 236 with DJ Henry Eau. I want to thank you for listening to the Floyd Memorial Library podcast, and we'll see you next time.